Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Universe. I bitched nonstop for like the first 300 episodes of our new show here, Jesse, about how long I hated that the intro I made, how it was 22 seconds. I found that lately as we begin the show, I hop back over to Twitter and I retweeted. I retweet because it sends out a notification on yours, mine, Jeremy, blah. I found the 22 seconds is perfect because it allows me to go out and retweet on all 5 accounts in 22 seconds. So now I find myself rushing against the 22-second clock going, all right, how long? And then I hear it. That time I came out and I started talking. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm on air, but let's introduce ourselves just in case. So hi, welcome to the Fantasy Football Universe. We are back today for another divisional superlatives. This one is the NFC North. I am Aaron St. Denis. Find me on all social media at FF Mad Scientist. He is Jesse Moeller. What is it? What are you drinking? Blue Mountain Dew?
No, it's a sugar-free energy drink thing.
Oh, that sounds terrible, but you're diabetic, right? So
it's the life, baby. It's the
find
life.
him at jmoeller05. If you want any of our written work, right now it's a lot of rookie profiles for you to hit. Head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com or catch us pretty much on any social media. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit. We are there. The FFU or Fantasy Football Universe depends on what we were able to secure. But if you like us, follow us, subscribe us, comment, review, any like that, we will be happy to reply with any questions you have. Let's get right into it, I guess. We will start off the usual ground rules. You're having internet issues again, aren't you, Jesse?
Yes, I am. Shocking. I need to me and Comcast are going to have a serious discussion about this because this is getting out of control.
We did this yesterday and you ended up on your phone, but so I'll go over the ground rules as you pixelate here. So if they have an obvious starter, I leave the obvious starter in there. In the situation here of the Bears, where there is an obvious need at the position, I subbed in, according to Mock Draft Database, the most mocked player at that position. So here you see Caleb Williams because, sorry, I'm bringing up Mock Draft Database. That's who they have. He's going 101. So we'll start at quarterback. Actually, I forgot there's J.J. McCarthy, who is also mocked right now to Minnesota. So we have a mixed bag here. We've got the Lions with Jared Goff and the Packers with Jordan Love for the incumbents. Then we have the presumed rookie. I think this one's pretty safe. Caleb Williams going to the Bears. And then the not nearly as locked in, we have J.J. McCarthy going to the Vikings. I'm bringing that right up on, like I said, Mock Draft Database. They have him going to the Vikings at 11. I think that's their pick themselves, right? There are a few here where they have them trading up to 5 or 6 to get him. I don't know. I don't mind the Vikings taking J.J. McCarthy at 11. Not sure I love them trading up and giving up a whole ton of capital to get him at 5 or 6. But that's a debate for another show. So we will get right into it, I guess. We'll take a look at it from redraft and dynasty. Where do you want to start here? Do you want to talk redraft with these 4? Dynasty? What's up?
We can go redraft with these guys if you really want to do it. Since that's
fire away.
All right, it's Jordan Love. I'm not gonna take the risk with the rest of the guys. Like we saw Jared Goff, but the thing with Jared Goff is the ceiling is just never there. As good as he has been, and he's been a very good passer even last year. Like Jordan Love finished above him in points per game basis, so he's in a better situation. The offense, and I like the Lions' offense a lot better, but they're still missing a vertical threat. Like that's kind of what they need, and maybe that's Jameis Winston. That's not. So Goff is the floor play. I view Love as the floor plus the ceiling play. So I want a guy that can get me into the top 5, which Love was last year. I'm going to go with Jordan Love. It gets interesting with Caleb. Caleb and Goff is a fun dichotomy because Caleb's walking into possibly the best overall first pick situation we've seen in the last 20 years. It's the skill positions there, the lines there, everything is there for him to come out the gate and be hot. So if you want to go floor play, you take Goff. If you want to change the ceiling, you can go Caleb because I don't know how sustainable Goff's touchdown rates and all that stuff is. So he might come down a little bit. And then it's McCarthy. It's just that's another really great situation. And interesting enough, all these offenses are fantastic when you look at them from a 30,000-foot view, right? The Vikings offense, all those skill position pieces, even without Hawkinson, still 2 quality wide receivers. The running back room with Aaron Jones, that's a good place to be. So McCarthy's fine. It's just they never asked him to do much at Michigan, so I'm curious to see how much they see that at Minnesota, right? So he would be my 4th option, but you could rank Caleb and Goff really close to redraft, and that's probably where I'm going to have those 2 lined up.
That's funny you say that they didn't ask him to do much in Michigan. He goes to Minnesota in the first round with those passing weapons. they are going to just say, fuck it, turn it loose, bud. We are going to see real quick what JJ has as far as arm talent.
100%.
I think you're right. Redraft for me. Where did you go with the Caleb versus Goff in redraft?
I would, depending on my team build and where it is, like Goff seems like the floor play, I would probably just have Goff. Yeah. If I wanted a ceiling shot, like I went a little bit riskier, I would go with Caleb. But they're going to be right around QB like 12, 13 in redraft for me in that range.
Yeah. I went with Love as well. I think he's got the safe floor, highest ceiling.
Yeah.
Goff, pretty much what you said was spot on. Goff is safe, but he's a QB2. He's not a QB1. He's not a QB3. He's a QB2. He's going to finish somewhere between 12 and 18, depending. That's probably why I'm willing to take Caleb here. I think Caleb has the same upside as Jordan Love, but is riskier than Jordan Love because he's a rookie. So I'm going to go Jordan Love, then pretty close Caleb Williams to Jared Goff, and then JJ is significantly far behind. I'm not going to lie, as far as I get it in single QB, you're going to have all of these guys are not going to be highly drafted. They're all going to be 1, 2, low end QB1, high end QB2 in the rankings and where they're drafted. But this is one where I'm pretty sure even in redraft, any super flex, all these guys are great options because I think all of these in McCarthy in this offense, I think all of these are at least top 16 or top 18 options. So I really like these guys. I don't know how many of them you're going to have in one QB, but I mean, Love's going to go in one QB. McCarthy, I don't know. Williams is going to go in one QB.
Sure.
Goff's probably going to go or get picked up on waivers. And I would imagine if JJ, if in this case where he goes here, he's going to start. So someone's going to take a shot on him. So I think all these guys go in even one QB leagues in the top.
Especially the home leagues, right? Because home leagues, people just stash those quarterbacks, even backup quarterbacks. So McCarthy will get drafted in home leagues, no doubt about it. I think analyst leagues in one QB, probably not, but that's a different. Like he does have some rushing to him, so like there is some upside attached to it.
I love the home leagues. I have to stash an 8th round QB because I need to play someone on my QB's bye week. So I'm going to burn a bench spot in an 8th round pick on, maybe a guy you're going to play one game. So
we every year in my home leagues, like those quarterbacks go hot and heavy. People are like, nope. We're hammering quarterback. I'm like, all right, I guess this is what we're doing.
I had this conversation with someone at work once in our one QB league, and he drafted Josh Allen or Mahomes or someone early. So one QB league, not only was it one QB, but not only did he draft 2 QBs, but he burns an early pick on the high end QB. So he has a top 3 QB that he burns early, and then in like I said, 7, 8, 9th round, he drafts a high-end backup. And I just said, I'm like, well, what the hell's going on here? I'm like, well, you used the 2nd round pick on Josh Allen. Why would you waste another high-end pick on it, like an 8th round pick on a backup quarterback? Oh, well, what happens, bye week? What happens if he gets injured? Well, my theory is, you wasted the high pick on Josh Allen or used the high pick on Josh Allen. Josh Allen goes down. Does it matter if you used an 8th round pick on a QB2? Your team's fucked anyways. Use high draft capital to get a QB1. If it's like the year the Patriots were on fire and then the next year Brady goes down. They missed the playoffs because you lose your QB, you're fucked. Well, why
you can stream the quarterback, like even if Josh he gets hurt, there's still guys available. You could stream. You just have to play waiver wires, and it's fine.
I've never been a big believer in having the handcuff quarterback there for one QB leagues. All right, Dynasty, I guess, is where it gets interesting. Dynasty, it is not Love for me, based just on the ceiling alone. I know that's going to be tough too, but I think because I always take the bird in the hand over one in the bush, but still, I think. For me, it's Love doesn't have what did he finish last year? You said I thought it was 7th, wasn't it? Was it 5th?
I think he was 5th on points per game. I'll double check, but I think he finished 6th. I mean, there was injuries and stuff last year, so it was very weird. But yeah.
But for me, he doesn't have. I know this is going to sound bad because he finished 5th, but I don't see him as a guy with top 3 upside. He doesn't. I just don't see him in that top tier. Whereas Caleb Williams, if the stars align, could be that. He could also be nothing. I get that. So I would go in Dynasty. I'm going to go Caleb Williams. Then I'm going to go Jordan Love. Then is where it gets interesting here because I like Goff, but do I want I think this would be a format issue here. Single QB Dynasty, which there aren't many of. I'm going to take JJ because I can risk it on the pick, but Superflex, it's a lot tighter. do I want the guaranteed QB2, even though it could only be a few more years? Or do I want the guy who could end up being a QB1 or 2 for me for years to come, or could be washed out of the league in 2 years? I don't know. So for me, the debate here is, I guess you could debate Williams Love. I don't. But for me, I think in Dynasty, I want to go JJ McCarthy over Goff, but you could sell me either way. What are your thoughts on these 4 for Dynasty?
Yeah, I have them like 2 spots apart. I have JJ as my QB 17. I have Goff as my QB 19. But like, it's all team build dependent. If I have a win now team, I'm going to take Goff because I got to know what I'm getting out of him.
That's a good point.
If you're rebuilding or whatever, just take McCarthy and the upside because he could substantially gain value where Goff really can't. Yeah, Goff can get to what, maybe QB 12.
Yeah, Goff value. Is what he is at this point.
He's capped. Like so,
there's no upside argument anymore for Goff. He is what he is. I'm going to look back. We've got QB 37, but then 12, 6, 13, 20, 24, 10, 7. So he's got more QB1 finishes than I would have expected. He's had back-to-back QB1 finishes, but
yeah, I think he's going to be our Kirk Cousins as long as he's in Detroit, where he's valued as low at QB2, but he'll give you back at QB1 finishes like every year.
I can see that. I don't know for me. So I think re-examining the numbers, maybe I would take Goff. 29 age was also a factor, but I guess a QB turning 30. Goff is one of those guys where I feel like he's old and been in the league 100 years. But he hasn't really. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess he has,
8 years,
but he's still young. So that's why it feels like he's been in the league 100 years because 8 years as a running back, you're ancient. 8 years as a quarterback, he's only 30. Like conceivably, he could play another 15 years conceivably. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like interestingly enough, Goff just never has the high end like touchdown ceiling outcome. His max is 32 back in 2018. Last year, he only had 30 passing touchdowns, and he's such a pass independent quarterback. Like, I don't think he's ever going to get to the 40 or 45 where that's how you reach that top 5. And that's kind of where he limits himself. So, like, yeah, I'd take the rushing upside of McCarthy if you really want to chase upside and play value game, it's McCarthy. But if you want to try to compete for a title this year, like Goff's a bunch.
Yeah.
Just like you could lock him in.
I think I'm going to default to that. McCarthy is my guy in any standard or rebuilding build. Goff is the guy if you want to win now. All right, let's move on to running back. If I can,
running backs are interesting.
Yep, they are. We actually have all NFL running backs and no rookies. So we've got. Feel free. Obviously, you can sub in. Like we said, no subbing in rookies. But if you want to sub in David Montgomery or one of the 12 Chicago backs, go for it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got Jahmyr Gibbs on the Lions, DeAndre Swift Bears, Aaron Jones Vikings. Some of these names are so weird to read because the graphic is them on a different team. I'm used to them on a different team. And then we have Josh Jacobs Packers. So for me, we'll start with Dynasty. I think this one's going to be much easier in Dynasty. Well, you know what? Having said that, okay, so Jahmyr Gibbs in Dynasty is by far a million times the number one. And then originally, what I thought to myself was it was Jahmyr Gibbs, the easy one. That's staying. I'm not even going to discuss Jahmyr Gibbs in this. He's number one. But so then I thought Jacobs and Jones were close for 2 and 3, and Swift was 4. But then I thought to myself, maybe Swift is 2 and Jones and Jacob are 3 and 4. Like I don't know where to value Swift, I guess is what it is. For me, I have Jacobs slightly above Jones, but I don't really know how to value Swift.
Swift's 4 for me. I just his whole issue is his inability to process and like keep up his body with his mind. Like his processing and vision has always been a problem for him as a running back. And that's why he benefited so much in the Philadelphia situation last year. As good as the Chicago offense line is, it's not Philadelphia. It's a downgrade for him. So we're going to see those problems creep back up again. And this is kind of why I prefer Jacobs. Jacobs is going from the Raiders to the Packers. It's a much better offense, much better situation. So they're close enough in age. So it's like a year or two younger. But overall, I'm going to go Jacobs. I still think Jones is a better back, even though he's older. If you want to take Swift third, I get it. I'll go Jones and then Swift. I'm not sure Swift's getting that much volume as we hope he is. And I just don't know how it's going to play out. So he seems the riskiest of these guys, even though Jacobs is had a terrible season last year. He's going to get volume at least. Well, I'll chase the volume with Jacobs and then I'll go Jones and Swift. But I've always been a Jones guy. So I'm a little biased on that.
I don't think Swift will get the volume because I don't think he can get the volume. And that's always been his biggest problem. He's a great player, awesome talent. The problem is you don't get points in the medical tent. So that's the problem for me. I think if you want to go on talent, it's Gibbs, Jacobs, Swift, Jones. And I mean, Jones isn't exactly a beacon of health and he's old. So for me, I think you've convinced me. It's Gibbs easily. Then it's Jacobs, I think, pretty easily. And then I'm torn here of do I want young and injury prone or old and injury prone?
Here's what, Swiss 25. I think Jacobs is what, 26?
29.
I think they're a year apart.
Oh, Jacobs.
Jones. Jones is 28 going to 29. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's where it comes down to me. I think this is another one. If I want to, and I don't even know that. I was going to say if I want to win this year, I take Jones, but I'm not sure Swift doesn't have decent upside. Let me look up the numbers here quickly for Swift last year.
He had 268 touches last year. So he got like a good amount of work, which is 50 more than he's gotten any other year in his career. So he was definitely fed in Philadelphia. It's just you'll see that like the problem is you can't fully like the why I like Saquon Barkley even better is because he could do more as a running back in that situation that he's leaving. So Swift, we kind of saw how they ran a 3-headed monster last year in Chicago. Swift's obviously gonna get the bulk of the work, like he's the best running back they have there. But he has his issues and he's limited, and this is kind of what we have to talk about with Swift. Like there's upside attached, but he's never consistent enough to see it through. So like he'll have 20 touches in one game, he'll have 10 in another. Like he'll fluctuate all over the place. I think he'll be fine. He's an RB2, RB3, but like he's just gonna frustrate.
Yeah, I don't think there's as much upside for Swift, and I'm still a Roschon fan. So in the end, I'll take Jones 3, Swift 4. Redraft, I don't think changes much. It's still Gibbs by a mile. Then it's Jacobs next, then Jones and Swift. Yeah, I think this one, same for redraft or dynasty. Either way, it's Gibbs by a mile, and then I think it's Jacobs by a mile. So
you can make the case for Jacobs above Jahmyr Gibbs if you want. If you're worried about year 2 and they don't fully unlock Gibbs, right? Because he still didn't get the high-end outcome, but I think he's going to get it this year. That's kind of what we're betting on with Gibbs, is that he's going to be a top 5 back this year. Like he's going to get more opportunities, more touches, and all of that. So which tells you, like, I really don't want Montgomery on my team this year. So if I can sell Montgomery for a mid-second, anything around there, like I'm happily doing that. I'm discarding him. Because we see these guys, the elite running backs in year 2, they take a step in opportunity and work and everything. This has happened with all these guys, like McCaffrey did it, all the guys before him. So if I can get out from Monty for that price, I'll happily do that. And yeah, like Gibbs is just a special back and he in like the best situation. So I'm all aboard that.
All right, I can get on board with that too. Let's move on to wide receivers. This is an interesting group. It's pretty talented. We've got a new guy and some old guys. Sorry, it just took me a sec to bring it up. So we've got Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chicago Bears, Keenan Allen. You could sub in DJ Moore. I think, okay, for what I would say, looking at this instantly, if you're talking to me for a redraft, I preferred Keenan Allen. If you're looking at me for Dynasty for the Bears, I prefer DJ Moore. I just think Keenan Allen has one more top 12 season in him, and I think his one season left has higher upside than DJ Moore. But so I've got Keenan Allen for the Bears, Justin Jefferson for the Vikings, and I chose Jaden Reed on the Packers. This field here has, with the exception of St. Brown and Justin Jefferson, I think we have 2 teams where it's subject to personal preference. So I guess let's start from a redraft perspective. For me, this is very close. I have Justin Jefferson and St. Brown. Depending on what mood I'm in, I have them like 3-4 in some order. Sometimes it's St. Brown, sometimes it's Jefferson. Right now, I believe it's St. Brown, depending on who the quarterback is in Minnesota. He could go back up to 3 or even 2. So I go St. Brown, Jefferson. Then I think I want to go Keenan Allen. Like I said, I'm a believer he still has one last top 12 season in him. Then I'll go Jaden Reed. But I would also, like, if we're going to have every player in this division, I put DJ Moore above Jaden Reed. I probably put Jordan Addison in the same tier as Jaden Reed. And then the remainder of the 12 Packers receivers round out the division for me. What do you think here?
Right. Yeah, I'm going to take DJ Moore. Like, we saw what he did. And my whole worry is Keenan Allen. Like, he's reached that age where they have that mega season, which he had last year. And then the decline happened. So I'm not projecting it to happen, but it wouldn't shock me. So I think
very
DJ
possible.
Moore is I think he's just the safer asset between the two of them. So like in redraft, I would just rather bet on DJ Moore. I'm not worried about the age concerns of the cliff coming for him because he's still at his prime. But you want to go Keenan Allen, totally fine. I have Jefferson still above Amon-Ra St. Brown. His numbers were basically identical without Kirk Cousins. The way that it works for the backup quarterback is they just hyper target the wide receiver 1, so Justin Jefferson. So his target share goes up. It's less inefficient, but like he was at 98 yards per game. He was 93 without him. Basically identical on catches and all of that stuff. So like he's just so good. It's really hard to fade him. But yeah, Amon-Ra's right there with him. Amon-Ra's a stud. He's PPR magnet. You know what you get. Then I would have DJ Moore. And then I would actually probably take Keenan Allen above Jaden Reed if I was doing like redraft rankings. And then it's, Jordan Addison, I would put him after Jaden Reed because I still want to chase the wide receiver 1 for the Green Bay Packers. It's a little uncertain, right? And with whoever the rookie quarterback is in Minnesota, if it's Sam Darnold, whoever it is, like I do worry about the ancillary pieces outside Jefferson because we've seen it. Rookie quarterbacks struggle to support their assets in year 1. So Jefferson could take a little bit of a hit, but I think the other guys take a bigger hit. So yeah, I will still take Jaden Reed above Jordan Addison, but again, we're splitting hairs. They're all really good. I think it's a really fun division actually looking at all these players because there's talent all over the field.
I think if we switch to a dynasty outlook here, the only thing that changes for me is Keenan Allen drops to the bottom with the backup Packers receivers. It's still Amon-Ra and Jefferson at the top in some form. Then DJ Moore is the 3 for me. Then I probably have a combination of Addison and Reed next. Then it would be, I don't know, I'm close here between Romeo Doubs and then I think it's probably Keenan Allen and then Christian Watson for me. So really it's the same. The only difference is Keenan Allen plummets from redraft to dynasty.
Yeah. Keenan Allen goes from like 4 for me or 5.
Yeah, he was 3. Like he was 3 for me to like 7. So he goes 4 to 7 or 4 to 8 for you.
Yeah. I think, like in my dynasty ranking, he's only a couple spots below Jaden Reed. And I think Addison's like 30. I have Jaden Reed like 33. And then Keenan Allen's like 36 wide receiver dynasty. Like it's just kind of, that's a glut of dudes. So like, I really don't mind how we move those guys around.
Do you have any interest in redraft the other Packers receivers? Yeah. What is that? Dobbs, Watson. Who's the 4th guy I'm forgetting?
Wicks.
Thank you. You want to rank 1, 2, 3 out of those 3? Not exclude Reed. Rank the other 3 for redraft purposes. Where do you got them?
I'm a Christian Watson guy, so like I still vouch for Christian Watson. I think he just dealt with injuries last year, but I would go Wicks and that. Man, the thing with Dobbs is like he's going to be playing, so you probably could take the shot on him. He's just not that good, is the problem. But he just is on the field. He takes up snap. He does that. So I'll chase Wicks, even though it's probably going to burn me. So I would put Dobbs 4th out of those guys. But realistically, he probably should be 2nd.
See, I go Dobbs, Wicks, then Watson. I wasn't a big believer in Watson to begin with. Not only that, we're 2 years in, and what he's been is injury plagued. I think he's just going to be one of those guys like Mike Williams. There's just something about the way he plays that's prone to violence and prone to injuries, and I think that's going to be him. Look at
his entire career has been injury plagued, like way back to high school. I think Jeff Moeller was talking about this. Like his list is extensive, so he probably needs to see a specialist or something.
It's all soft tissue shit too. It's not freak injuries, so it's stuff that some people, those tissues are just not as it's a flexibility, a pliability, like your tissues and tendons are just tighter than others. Well, and I mean that's true of a lot of athletes because like if you compare an athlete to a normal person, we couldn't do what they do because our muscles and tendons just don't operate as effectively as theirs. And so he's a pro athlete, but not quite up to flexibility with the others. And I think that's why I think he's just going to have this issue. Even we've seen it with like, I guess Keenan Allen's a great example. Yep. He's always prone to these. He's been groin injury, hamstring injury, Michael Thomas. So I don't know. I'm the low guy.
He had those first couple of years, he was injury plagued. Like everybody called him injury plagued wide receiver. And then he played basically 5 straight seasons and didn't have injury. So it can come and go for these guys. I think Watson's just an inherently risky proposition. The ceiling outcome, if he hit, is really high, but also the floor is really low with him. So you just kind of like those are my kind of guys. Like I like gambling and rolling that with dynasty wide receivers. So I'm fine with him. And he's like wide receiver 55 right now in dynasty. He's super cheap. So like I'm fine throwing the dart on him and see if it works.
For Watson, for me, in 2 years, we have essentially one 4-game stretch where he put up like 9 touchdowns, and that's his value for 2 years. And I'm not exaggerating. I don't know if it was 9. It might have been 7, but it was it was like 2 touchdowns a game in that rookie season. So he missed 8 games, put up 8 touchdowns, and then missed the next 5 games or something. So this is definitely one of the more talented groups we've seen, and it's pretty damn deep. Yes. Aside from Detroit, who's got to be drafting some form of backup here. Like they've got to add something. There's nothing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting if they decide to just cancel the Jameson Williams proposition and go get an X. But they've been talking about bringing someone in. Like they they still need someone that can be dependable to be the weapon because Jameson Williams, other guys dealt with injuries nonstop. It just hasn't been nothing for them. So
I've been saying every time we've mocked, I said at the end of the first round, they've needed either a corner or a defensive end to go opposite Aiden Hutchinson. Through free agency, they've done a pretty good job of addressing cornerback and defensive end. I'm not saying that if one of the elite ones, elite corner or elite defensive end in a stacked class, if one of them falls to Detroit, I expect them to take a cornerback or an edge rusher. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. If a lot of those guys fly off the board like they could, because there's some good ones, I could see Detroit calling an audible here and taking one of the receivers like Troy Franklin. That could be interesting. His value will go up because Detroit as the wide receiver too is a nice option.
Yeah, they're starting Khalif Raymond in 11 personnel right now. Like that's not good. That's not what you want. And as good as the skill position talent is, they could definitely add another piece. So I think 100% with you. Like,
and that would be interesting. And it scares me. And we'll segue that into who it scares me for, because the person it would scare me for most would be Sam Laporta. If a rookie comes in and he suddenly has the potential to be the third target. But okay, so the tight ends in this one, we've got Lions, Sam Laporta. Bears, Cole Kmet, TJ Hawkinson for the Vikings, who projects to miss some time, and Luke Musgrave for the Packers. I think in this one, it's probably going to be the same in redraft and in dynasty. I go Sam Laporta pretty handily, TJ Hawkinson, Cole Kmet, and Luke Musgrave close together. You may take Luke Musgrave. I could understand that. I'm a big believer in Cole Kmet. Hopefully Caleb Williams is as well, but I think the top two are pretty solidified here, and I think Laporta's got this easily. My question, I guess, is say the Lions take a non-top three non-big three receiver in the first, Franklin, a Texas receiver, Ladd McConkey, whoever the hell it is, even a second-round receiver, and it's someone you like. What does that do? Does that drop Sam Laporta behind TJ Hawkinson for you? Not in redraft, because I expect Hawkinson to miss significant time. Dynasty-wise, does that really hurt Laporta's value for you?
A little bit, depending on who it is.
Troy Franklin or Brian Thomas Jr.
I hate that fit with Goff.
Okay, who do you like? Who do you like outside the big three?
If he gets someone like Ladd McConkey, the problem is like McConkey's gonna do a lot of what Amon-Ra St. Brown does in that offense.
He's a slot.
But he's a slot plus, he can push it vertical, so he does a little bit more, and he can also play outside. So I think he's the guy that would impact Laporta more, because if you're bringing in the X wide receiver like Brian Thomas Jr., A.D. Mitchell, Troy Franklin, these guys that are going to run deep down the field, that's not Goff's game. That's not what he does. So I think those guys are doing the Jameson Williams experiment. It's just doing it differently. So I would hate for them to do that, but that just means they're basically just telling us they don't want Jameson Williams anymore. That's the sign that we're getting from them. They're like, we're done with him. We're moving on. But it's going to be the same thing. They're just going to be running wind sprints down the field. I don't think those guys work well for fantasy football with Jared Goff, because that's not the type of quarterback he is. So I think Laporta is good in that situation. If it's McConkey or if it's Pearsall, if it's one of these guys that can live in the middle and underneath, I think that becomes more of a problem for Sam Laporta than those guys. So I think it's very receiver-specific situation. But there are certain guys that can affect him. I think he's overvalued. So he shouldn't be the tight end one. He has a tier gap, and it should be clustered with McBride. What am I the other guys? Andrews, those other, those top five. They should all be closer together. He's in round 2, and those guys are 3, 4, 5, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think you're right. If they bring in a slot, it impacts him and St. Brown a bit. But if they bring in another Jameson Williams, it could actually be beneficial to him, because it spreads the intermediate and short area of the field open a bit more, and it could actually get him some more looks if you've got JMO and some other, Troy Franklin out there running deep wind sprints. So
right. I think it'd be a nightmare to stop the defense.
Okay, I guess I have Laporta easily in redraft first. The question for me is, do you still have Hawkinson second in redraft? Assuming I don't know, I got to look back. When did he get injured here? I know it was late in the season.
It was really late.
It was week 16.
He's supposed to miss the majority of the season.
Could miss first month of the season. So assuming he misses the first month, are you taking Kmet or Musgrave over him?
My whole issue with Kmet is they brought in competition for him, significant competition.
Yeah, who was it? I forget.
It's Gerald Everett, and I'm like, dude, I don't want Kmet. I really don't want I don't want Hawkinson.
You're using the term significant competition loosely. Gerald Everett.
I'm not a Kmet fan, so that's what it is. But it's competition. We'll say that. So I just wonder how many of the snaps and routes he's going to run, because if you cut into that with him, that really just eviscerates his value. So I would, if I'm gonna bet on one of these guys, I'll just bet on the cheapest one, which is Musgrave, of the 4th cheapest one. Because like I don't want to spend premium capital on Hawkinson. Komet's still going to the point where I'd rather invest in other guys, so I'll just take the 4th guy as the cheapest in Musgrave. But yeah, it's Laporta by a mile. Like it's not even close to the rest of the guys for me.
I think that is the answer. I might have some shares of Laporta in the leagues where I want to pony up for a tight end. I'm going to have no shares of TJ Hawkinson because he's still going to be drafted high enough up. Well, I think he was 4th tight end off the board in our mock last night. I'm not going to have I'm not going to have any shares of him in a redraft league where he could miss at least a month. And then it's going to be for me. I'll probably have some shares of Komet and Musgrave as my late tight end flyer. Let's bring that up. Who is that? Oh, yeah. Hollywood says Kraft. What do you think about Kraft?
It's a good competition. It just depends what you prefer there. Like, you know, Musgrave was dealt with a ton of injuries, and that's kind of when Kraft took off at the end of the year because Musgrave was out. He had the concussion, that he had the injury as well. So it is weird to see because Kraft got the snap share and he was fine and he did good. So I don't mind Kraft. I just prefer what Musgrave offers. I thought he was a better tight end coming out. I still think he's a better tight end. It's just, he's another guy like Jameson Williams and these guys that dealt with a lot of injuries. So Musgrave has dealt with that. Same thing, Oregon State, he dealt with that. So like that's kind of the thing with him. But like I'll just buy the talent. And if he gets injured, yeah, if you want to go Kraft, go Kraft. Like it's totally fine. I'd be fine with either one of those guys, honestly.
Between Jacobs, 4 receivers, and 2 tight ends, these guys need some injuries because there's too many mouths to feed if they're all healthy.
Yeah,
somebody's not even getting on the field if they're all healthy. So
yeah,
that's what worries me about Kraft.
100%. Like I do with Hawkinson, I think the best way to go about getting him is trading him in season because whoever rosters him is going to get super frustrated and his value is going to drop more than it is right now. So if you want to get a cheap tight end one dynasty for the future, go get TJ Hawkinson.
We went from yesterday having the best kicker division in football. This is ugly. I don't believe I rostered any of these 4 last year. I might have streamed Michael Badgley. Well, Parker wasn't in the league last year. But so we've got Michael Badgley for the Lions, Cairo Santos for the Bears, John Parker Romo, Vikings, Anders Carlson for the Packers. I do kickers a lot. Like this, I'm pretty good with kickers. Badgley, I'm going to stream here and there. Parker Romo, I'm interested to see what he becomes, but I don't anticipate me having any of these guys on any of my rosters in the leagues that I have kickers outside of a desperation stream or one of my, tune into my streamer article where they've got like just a cakewalk matchup. But I don't think I had any of Santos last year. I streamed Carlson a couple times, but don't draft any of these guys. If you're drafting a league with kickers, don't draft any of these guys. You might have to stream them, but don't draft them.
Yeah, they're all good offenses. I don't even know who John Parker Romo is. I'm assuming he's a rookie because it looks like he has a Sun Devils jersey on. So I'm guessing he's a rookie, but yeah, like the good offense.
Devils jersey, isn't it? It's an XFL jersey.
Oh, it's XFL? Oh, even worse. Yeah, I don't know who that Parker Romo guy is. But speaking of XFL, whoever that dude is, who's the guy that has the cannon leg, hitting like 65-yard field goals?
That's the kid you're thinking from the rugby team, isn't it?
Yeah. It might be. I don't know. I saw the highlight and I was like, dude, somebody's inside that guy ASAP. He's an absolute cannon. But yeah, like they're good offenses. You can stream them. But I'm with you. Like I just don't think they're the best kickers in the world. I'd probably just bet on Carlson. Just Jeremy.
What is that?
It's a poop emoji.
What's the first one? A shopping bag? Fire?
Maybe he had to take a hot fire.
What did you have? A Taco Bell while you were shopping and you had to shit fire? I don't know. I pity your wife for it right now. That's a fun shopping trip.
Yeah. Packers good offense. The Bears are going to be a good offense. Lions are good offense. Vikings TBD. So Vikings are probably the offense of these ones. I don't invest in even though they have the talent. I don't know about the quarterback, and that's my entire situation with kickers. Like it just could be a just disaster, right? So I'll invest in the other guys. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a big on any of these kickers.
I'm not agreeing with one thing you said there, that the Bears are going to be a good offense. This is a lot of pieces that have to come together, and these situations don't always mesh well immediately. You got a new receiver in there. You're going to have a new quarterback. These Ks equal crap in a bag lit on fire. Okay, that's thank you for the explanation. We've got what movie was that? Billy Madison when they're lighting dog shit on fire?
Yeah, run away, yeah.
Anyways, my point was that just these situations, rookie quarterback, new-ish coaching staff, old receiver on a new team, new running back, like this has the potential to start really slow and take some time to gel. So I think the Lions and Packers are easily the best offenses. I'm wait and see on the other two. There's a lot of moving pieces. So
yeah, we saw the struggles with Fields and how like that fluctuated so much. But yeah, I just the difference between Fields to Caleb Williams, like it's night and day for me. I just trust Caleb Williams a lot more. But 100%, like there is more inherent risk in betting on a rookie quarterback for a year. So I'm with you on that.
All right, that concludes our wrap up here of the NFC North, all their best position players. For all of our written work, including some of those rookie profiles, and eventually the streamer articles on kickers and defenses by me, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. Go away, Jeremy. Just go away. Go back to Hollywood Jack. Hollywood Jack. What the hell was I saying? Okay. Check us out on any social media, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Instagram, blah, 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 Facebook, at the Fantasy Football Universe. Like, subscribe, rate, review, comment, all that fun stuff, and we will interact back with you. We pretty much answer anything. We don't have lives, and this is pretty much what we do. I raise my kid, I drive a bus, and I do football stuff, so I'm around. Sometimes I do them all at once. My kid will be on the bus, I'll be driving a bus, and I'll be, answering questions on my phone. Real safe. But regardless, for Aaron and Jesse and Hollywood Jack somewhere in the comments, thank you for tuning in to Fantasy Football Universe. We will see you again tomorrow for the next division. I don't know who it is, but we'll be here. See you tomorrow at noon. Take care, everyone, and have a great night.